Good morning. Another week here at Racetech Rod and Custom. So pretty big day for us today. Been a long while coming, but yesterday afternoon we got the 37 Chevy Coupe all masked up, ready to paint the dash and the firewall. Once the firewall and the dash are painted, that means we can actually reassemble the entire car, all bar the interior, and get it ready for wiring. So we're getting real close with this thing, and personally I can't wait not only to have it on the road, but just to at least fire it up, listen to the engine that we built for it, the exhaust system, do some dyno tuning, and get this thing on the road, go and enjoy it. It's been 12 months now. It literally popped up as a memory, that's right on 12 months ago that we started this project. So I reckon we've knocked it out in pretty good time considering the scale of it, and everything else that we've got going on. And like, this is one quality steel hot rod. It's going to be a real nice bit of gear. So yeah, as just said, all masked up, ready to go. Little light Scotch Brite on the blending areas this morning. One more wipe down, and then time for colour. So it's going to be a good day. Going to be a real good day. So just got to work, haven't even really sort of opened up or had a look at where we finished off yesterday. So everything's still a bit messy and a bit chaotic. We just got a couple of things covered up here because yesterday we were just doing some Raptor coat on the inner fenders of the Chevy truck, and we've got the opposite side to do today now that I can get out of Scooter's way because I finished the steering shafts. So we'll have a bit of a look at that a little bit later on as it comes together. Anyway, time to rip in. It's a little bit cooler here this morning, so looking forward to getting some stuff done and sweating a little bit less. Well, I was pretty sure it was going to be a good day, and I was absolutely right. Brendo did an absolutely amazing job of colour matching that 37 Chevy truck. We'd had paint mixed up for it, but it was a little bit off, so he did some tinting and worked his magic, and it just turned out awesome. So not only that, but we got the front end back on the silver Chevy truck, and we got some bits painted up for that, ready for reassembly. Let's check it out. So you just finished locking up for the day, so it's a little bit dark, but I wanted to show you because, yeah, I really like it. It's turned out awesome. So the budget wasn't really there to go too crazy with the inner fenders. So we just took them back to bare metal, scuffed them up real good with 80 grit, right back to bare metal, epoxy primed, satin Raptor, radiator support panels all powder coated. So we thought, because you open the bonnet and sort of look straight at the motor front on, I thought we might just dress up the hood latch panel. So we did that in a direct gloss black, turned out really nice. And we gave the hood latch a sandblast and did that in a nice direct gloss black too. So that's a real nice jet black. That's going to look absolutely awesome right as you pop the hood. As you can see here, like what I was talking about, Brendo really went above and beyond and got that colour match dialed right in. 3 coats of colour on the plenum and on the firewall and the blend up the pillar. So he'll polish that out once it hardens right up nicely. He's got some dashboard components there in colour, plus some front end mounts. And then we also finished the dash out in the same body colour. And that dash was rough, but that looks $1,000,000 now and will look so good with all the new gauges and everything in there. So you're joining us on a wet Friday here in Western Australia. It's nice and cool. It's been raining quite a bit today, and we've got quite a bit more to come apparently, so that's really good news. Like, it's been so bloody dry, we really need it, and just the fact that it's cooling down is just, yeah, a bit of a relief, honestly. Kind of looking forward to being able to, you know, rug up into some actual protective gear and do some fabricating without getting covered in sparks and weld all the time. But anyway, we had a really good week here, so we'll have a bit of a look at sort of what we got done, and what I'm going to move into tomorrow, being Saturday, and we'll have a bit of a preview sort of into next week as well. So what can you say about a 50 Chevy truck? Man, they are a classy unit. Hence the reason we've been building one for ourselves, but this is a customer's build. We've sort of reached the stage of where we were going to get to this time around, and this one will now head back and live with Matt and Tracy for a little while. The front windscreens will get installed down at their warehouse, and we'll make a plan and make a time and keep going and progress on this a little further down the track. Yeah, got all the door hinges rebuilt this morning, and brass bushes installed, new pins, so they all hold up quite nicely. And it's looking real good. We also had Brendan actually more so, he was the only one on this one this week, so he, as you can see in the video earlier on, that's the all the modifications and repairs all painted up, and we can start assembly on that one now. But we're probably going to have, I'd say, a week or maybe 2 weeks break off, and it's been a long time coming, but Scooter's going to throw the kitchen sink at the VN drag car for a little while and see if we can get that ready for paint. And I will be flat out next week progressing on with the Pro buggy. I had a pulley and a hub come in for the power steering pump that I was waiting for, so I've got to get that on the other side, and then I'm going to move into the driver's cabin and mount up the torque converter cooler below the radiator, and then do a mock fit with all the other coolers, which I've already made all the mounts for, but I'm just going to do a mock up on those and progress a little bit further into the cabin. I'm just all about getting every single component and part tacked up and fitted and functional. Final weld can wait till it's all pulled down and sent out to powder coat. But then tomorrow, Saturday, kind of my favourite day in the workshop, I'm going to probably progress on the big Chevy truck a little bit. I haven't really thought about what I'm up to next on that. I got most of the electric window stuff done last weekend, so there's a couple little tidy up bits on that. Oh, that's all right. Going to cut a mock window out of some aluminium sheet and just do a final sort of up and down in the Bailey channel and just make sure everything's travelling well. Then we can use that plate to get the real glass cut from. Also, I've got an engine just sort of hanging here from a stand that I'm prepping up ready to go into a HJ Monaro. So I'll see how much we get done on that this afternoon, whether we need to finish a bit off on that tomorrow. So that's a fairly hot little 253, dressed up sort of to look stock and standard, but that's going in a HJ Monaro with the original 4-speed car that we'll be restoring here at SS Racetech. And yeah, just they're the valve covers I did in the last video, just sort of trying to keep everything look factory and, you know, not sort of eBay and bolt on. Probably the only giveaway really is the wedge sump. But yeah, that'll look very Holden in there, and that's what we like on those old cars. Brendan was back on this one yesterday, continuing to block the door to the cowl to the fender, and he reckons he's only got a little bit more work to do to those, and then they can go into 2K primer, which is another step forward. I'm probably going to rip that grill out next weekend, and that primer was just put on there to sort of seal up rust repairs and previous metal work I did, so I'll probably get them stripped right back again and into some epoxy, and then Brendan can sort of body work them and get them all smoothed out. I was actually thinking about buying an aftermarket stainless grill for this truck, but after fitting one yesterday, which would be what we were buying, yeah, it's just not going to be any good at all. So just had somebody come in there. Yeah, basically what I was getting at is the grill in our truck was like really rusted, heavily rusted. Did a lot of metalwork repairs and things like that, and you know, considering the time that's going to go into it to body work it and paint it black and all the rest of it, we thought, oh, maybe we'll just you know, buy a aftermarket chromey grill. Definitely would have, you know, looked good. Probably actually would have preferred the chrome over the black on this one for something different, but yeah, after fitting an aftermarket one yesterday, there is no way in hell I'm doing that. None of the holes lined up. The grill bars want to dig back into the fenders. Like, yeah, there's nothing like restoring an original part and fitting the original parts, and that way, you know, everything fits and all the holes are going to line up. So anyway, we'll put the time and effort into the original grill, and it'll just cost what it costs and take what it takes. Mainly just hours, you know, just hours and hours of sanding and, you know, hammer and dolly work, and yeah, we'll get it schmick. But it is Saturday here in the workshop, so just getting sort of a few things opened up and going, and trying to get a bit of a plan sort of clear. Just walking up the death trap stairs into the engine room. Oh, that's bright. Yeah, so I got the gearbox for the Monaro actually rebuilt probably a couple of years ago now, so we'll grab that and we'll grab the bell housing and go downstairs and see if we can get that set up on the motor. So that's the Holden 4-speed that we had rebuilt, and we painted that up in the same colour they sort of came out in the factory to keep things looking legit. The bell housing, that was vapor blasted, and that came up really well. So I'll just check the thrust bearing and the fork and just sort of make sure all that looks like it's going to talk to each other properly, and run upstairs and get some bolts for the bell housing. So that gearbox, clutch, the whole deal, I don't know. I mean, I know it's all only factory. Maybe I'm getting used to everything that's not factory, but that just all bolted together. Absolute breeze. Yeah, so I might just have a look at the shift linkages now. Just got to try and decide whether I want to use the original shift linkages, whether they're in good nick, or whether it might pay to just buy a reconditioned setup. So that's as far as I'm going to go with this one today. That's pretty much ready to add some engine mounts and things and set it up in the new chassis. I had a chassis powder coated quite a while ago, and I've got all the front end components all sorted out and ready to go on that one. So we'll build up a roller, and then when the car comes in, we'll prep and paint the engine bay and then just roll a whole new chassis underneath it. On with the next job. So as most people are aware, these Holden V8s are notorious for struggling to pick up oil pressure. On a new build, you can pack oil pumps with Vaseline or grease and things like that, and I've done that too. JP oil pumps say absolutely don't do it, but I've never had any dramas doing it. However, really the ideal way to do it is with a dry motor. Build a tank that you can pressurise and force oil through the entire engine, priming everything, lubing everything, ready for a startup. I've done most engines with roller cams recently, to protect the engines rather than having to run in flat tappet camshafts and things like that. But this particular engine in the Monaro is a flat tappet engine, as is the VK 308. So I'm going to build a tank today. We used to have one way back in the day when I did my apprenticeship. I'm going to build a tank today, and that way we can prime up these old engines, ready for startup, and just potentially avoid any issues with oil pickup and starvation. That first few minutes of your engine fire up is, it's really life or death for the motor. So we'll just do everything we can so that everything goes seamlessly when it's time to fire the VK up, which I think is going to be really shortly. So on to the next job. So I've got some 3mm mild steel that I rolled up yesterday that I'm just going to TIG tack now and then cut off the green and get it TIG welded up and weld some fittings in, and I don't know, just design it and build it as it happens. Should work.
So there you have it, the oil priming 6000. I mean, would it even work without Go Fast stickers? I don't know, but we have them. So now we've got to get a couple of ball valves to complete this little unit, but once we do, we will prime the oil pressure up on this Holden V8 by coming in through this port here and just bombing oil through it under pressure. Probably just put 30 to 40 psi through it, and that way everything will be lubricated and ready for startup. Well, that's going to do it for this time around. I'm just about to head off to Rare Spares and pick up a shifter for the Monaro. So yeah, that'll do, and we'll do it all again next week.